I have a question for you. Can small communities make tiny house living affordable? That is the question we are going to address in this video. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could have your own piece of California land for a down payment of $920 plus $17.56 per month? Before we dive in, full disclosure, in the examples provided and calculations do not include taxes and other fees related to buying, owning, or developing the land, since they vary based on location and lot size.
Look at this parcel located just 30 minutes away from downtown Redding, California. Imagine you can acquire a piece of that land for a small fraction of its cost. This could be the place where you can park your tiny house and enjoy the peace and quiet of your own private oasis and have access to the city. But is it actually possible to buy a piece of this land for 1/10 of its sticker price? And if it is possible, how can you do that? In this video, I will cover a method that changes the real estate market and gives you truly unique opportunity, a head start that otherwise you won't find anywhere else. We have all seen what happened in 2022 and 2023. We were hit with a wave of hyperinflation. According to the Federal Reserve Bank, the median home price on average in U.S. in 2023 was $416,100. At almost $500,000, the dream of owning a house is already out of reach to most of us.
One of the questions that has been bothering us for years now was, how can we make tiny house living affordable? And if we individually cannot afford to buy a house, is there a different way? A new approach that would allow us to buy the dream home we always wanted. We individually have limited resources. But what about a group of, say, 10 or 20 people? If they are willing to work together, can they make a difference by pooling their resources and achieve reduction of the cost by an X factor? That is the big question. To discover what is possible, let's look at a few real-life examples and find out if we can save thousands of dollars.
First, we need a like-minded community of at least 10 or maybe 20 people. They can pool their resources to buy the land and create a tiny neighborhood. For simplicity, we will also assume that the group will split the price of one large parcel into equal parts. Example number 1. This is an actual real estate listing located at 58929 Little Long Valley Creek Road, Cromberg, California. Let's say 25 people come together to buy this 55-acre plot of land for the asking price of $415,000. This property has over 55 acres of beautiful wooded serenity, with 6 cabins, RV hookups, large kitchen, a 20 by 60 slab for an event, tent, campfire, laundry facility, bathroom and shower, water source, and a huge water tank. It has a propane tank and engineered septic system. An absolute jam. The perfect location for a tiny house community.
Okay, let's break down the financial model. We will assume equal distribution, where each person owns the same amount of land, irrespective of the location or features of the plot. By dividing 55.5 acres to 25 people, each person would have ownership of 2.2 acres of land. Down payment. A typical down payment in the U.S. is around 20%. A 20% down payment on a $415,000 purchase is $83,000. If we divide $83,000 by 25 people, each person will need to put down $3,320 down payment.
Let's calculate the combined monthly mortgage payment first, before we look at individual payments. If we subtract the down payment of $83,000 from the property price of $415,000, we have $332,000 as the remaining balance after the down payment. If we assume a 30-year mortgage at 7.76% interest rate, then the monthly mortgage payment comes out to approximately $2,371 per month. What would be the individual contributions towards the mortgage? If we divide the monthly payment of $2,371 equally among the 25, then each person would need to contribute $94.83 each month towards the mortgage. You can see how the initial cost of acquiring the property for $415,000 is reduced 25 times, a significantly smaller fraction of the initial cost.
At $94.83 per month for your own piece of land. That is pretty affordable if you ask me. And if the group opted to purchase their share of the land outright without a mortgage, let's simply divide the total property cost by the number of people. In this case, that would be $415,000 divided by 25 equals $16,600 per person. This is significantly less, specifically 25 times less than attempting to purchase the land independently without partnering with other community members, showing the significant value of this investment strategy. As you can see, even a tiny group of individuals that can pool their resources and invest in purchasing land together can create a miniature neighborhood in desirable location that is significantly more affordable than anything else you can find on the market.
Possible rental income. If we assume we rent out part of the land for outside activities, RV parking or camping spots, at an average rate of $20 per day, and each slot is occupied for 15 days per month, if we manage to rent out 20 spots, the total monthly rental income could be 20 slots by $20 a day by 15 days a month, comes out to be $6,000 a month. $6,000 divided by 20 investors equals $400 per person rental income. If we subtract the proceeds from the rental income, $400 minus the monthly mortgage payment, $94.83. The result is better than zero. This means that each person actually gains $305.17 per month towards their initial down payment. The proceeds from rental income not only cover their monthly mortgage payment, but it also lowers their initial investment over time. Isn't that amazing? For a down payment of $3,320, which is a tiny fraction of the full price, we can own our own piece of land and have visitors pay the mortgage. Absolutely stunning opportunity.
I believe Camp Cromberg is one of the best locations I have seen so far. It provides infrastructure that can save us loads of money and time to build. These amenities help to make the initial development of a tiny house community at Camp Cromberg more straightforward and cost-effective. More importantly, it's a framework for shared resources to promote a strong, connected, and sustainable community. Okay, let's take a look at if there are any additional perks when we invest in land collectively.
Perk number 1 was the ability to significantly reduce the cost of purchasing land for our tiny house. We saw a reduction of about 19 times. Perk number 2 is shared risk. If a hurricane causing $50,000 in damage hits the property and there are 20 community members, instead of a single person bearing the total cost, that responsibility splits to $2,500 each. In contrast, a single investor would have to foot the whole bill. Another example is expanding a property with a $20,000 septic system upgrade. Each investor would only contribute $1,000. 3. Shared maintenance efforts. For example, in a gated community in Florida, a group of neighbors collectively invested in a nearby plot of land for tiny houses. They share in the maintenance effort, such as landscaping and utility maintenance. Typically, annual maintenance for a single tiny house might cost around $3,000, including small repairs, utilities, and other incidentals. For one person, that is a considerable sum. If 20 community members each have a house on a shared piece of land, they might reduce some costs such as shared utilities and bulk buying materials for repair and maintenance. Let's say these shared costs bring down the annual costs to $2,000 per house. That would be a total saving of $20,000 annually for the group, money that can be reinvested to further enhance the property. Group decision making. An efficient property investment requires various expertise, including real estate, finance, and property maintenance. 20 investors with diverse skills can each play their part, potentially saving thousands on hiring external experts. Match of skills. With different professions contributing to the group, costs can be diminished. If one of the group members is a contractor, they could potentially save the group 10 to 15% of construction costs. Greater buying power. For a $500,000 property, a solo investor would typically need at least $100,000 as down payment. However, a group of 20 people need only $5,000 each. Alone, none could afford $500,000. Together, we could purchase it outright and have the remaining dollars for building the infrastructure, contingency, or next investment. 6. Possibility of owning larger parcels. A large piece of land costs $500,000 split between 20 people is only $5,000 each. The pooled resources allow the group to acquire larger parcels of land that can accommodate multiple tiny houses and can keep the not-so-like-minded neighbors away. 7. Greater bargaining power. Purchasing in bulk construction materials and services, a group of investors could negotiate for a minimum of 10% discount. Quite often even a 30% discount is possible. On the total cost of say $150,000 of materials and services, the group would save $15,000 to $45,000. If you need to buy materials to build a tiny house, and the total cost is $30,000 with no price reduction. If the group of 5 community members decides to build 5 houses together, the total material cost would be $150,000. However, as a large order, they could negotiate a 20% bulk discount. This would reduce their combined cost to $123,000, a saving of $27,000. Faster capital accumulation. If 20 people contribute $200 each per month, that's a combined $4,000 monthly. It's $48,000 annually, and $240,000 in 5 years. An amount that can be used collectively for large-scale developments. Collective learning experience. While hard to quantify, this shared learning can save funds by avoiding costly errors. Say a beginner mistake when buying property ends up costing $10,000. That cost split among 5 investors ends up being only $2,000 each.
So those are the 10 absolutely terrific ways for a small community of like-minded people that can make tiny house living affordable. Let's have a look at another piece of land. This time it's the beautiful Guinn Ranch property in Tuolumne County, California. It is an 80-plus acre ranch, complete with a tiny home named Grace Penny Tiny House, manufactured by Tumbleweed. The Guinn Ranch has spectacular views, a year-round pond well with 2,500-gallon storage tank, a guest cabin, and one of the oldest black walnut orchards in the state of California. The Guinn Ranch borders thousands of acres of national forest. Peace and tranquility and outdoor fire pit gazing at the stars. The property is off-grid with a good producing well, solar panels, internet, and cell service, which makes this an amazing work-from-home situation. The Guinn Ranch is home to an abundance of wildlife and acres of trails. It is currently running a few heads of cattle. Again, with this property we assume the number of people will be 20 people. Second, size of plot owned per person would be 80 acres divided by 20 people, equals 4 acres per person. Down payment per person would be 20% of $399,000 is $79,800. If we divide the down payment of $79,800 by 20 people, each person will need to put down $3,990. Now let's calculate the combined monthly mortgage payment. We take the $399,000 price minus the $79,800 down payment equals a $319,200 loan for the mortgage. Assuming a mortgage interest rate of 7.76% and a 30-year mortgage. The monthly mortgage payment on a $319,200 loan would be around $2,266 per month. Finally, the individual contribution towards mortgage payment per month. The monthly mortgage payment of $2,266 shared by 20 people would mean that each person would need to pay $2,266 divided by 20 people equals $114 per person per month. Individual contribution for outright purchase. If we were to purchase the land outright without a mortgage, the property price of $399,000 would be divided by 20 people, which would come to $19,950 per person. So, to briefly summarize what we discovered. Property number 1 was Camp Cromberg. We have 55.5 acres of land on the market for $415,000. With our investing as a group approach, each person would need to put down $3,320 down payment and should contribute $94.83 each month towards the mortgage, and would have ownership of approximately 2.2 acres of land. Property number 2 was the beautiful Guinn Ranch property in Tuolumne County, California. It is 80-plus acres of land on the market for $399,000. With our investing as a group approach, each person would need to put down a $3,990 down payment and should contribute $114 each month towards the mortgage and would have ownership of approximately 4 acres of land. In both cases, investing as a group lowers the barrier to entry from $415,000 to $3,320 and from $399,000 to $3,990. The difference is about 100 times less. That is a huge saving! It opens a door that otherwise individually we cannot open on our own. We also saw that a group approach divides the risk, and negative mortgage can effectively lower one's initial investment over time. Moreover, land management could be easier with more people involved. Individual purchase requires large funds and risk upfront, but allows full control and enjoyment over the property, which could be more suitable for owners with specific personal use cases for the land. I think the two examples we looked at show that group land buying can make tiny house living really, really affordable. Not only through making the initial down payment 100 times lower than the cost and make it more manageable, but potentially providing the ongoing income that reduces and may eventually improve each person's original financial contribute. With the extra savings, you can invest in customizing your dwelling and even generating passive income through short-term rentals. It also provides a sense of security. With 20 investors, any individual financial risk is significantly reduced. This model assumes the rental opportunities will always be occupied and maintain the same price, which may not be accurate, so things can change. However, the potential overall remains the exclusive opportunity. If you are as excited as I am about how this opens the door to creative living spaces and vibrant communities of like-minded individuals, let me know below in the comments. Maybe you've come across a property that has sparked your interest. Again, share the details in the comments below. Together, we can uncover even more incredible opportunities. I'd like to hear your thoughts, and we are going to keep providing more of those opportunities. Stay tuned. Hopefully one day we can get enough people interested in this and have our first community built soon. Until then, ciao. Have a wonderful day and keep working on your tiny house dream.